Hello and welcome to another edition of Inquiring Mind with your host, Red Shirt Guy. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite games versus another one of not my favorite games, just a game. I don't know. I'm going to talk about PlayerUnknown's Battleground and Fortnite. Now these are two wildly popular games. I would say one is maybe a little more popular than the other. But they're well-known battle royale games. I comment because recently I've been playing a little bit more PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and having a lot of fun. So I kind of wanted to compare and contrast the two, talk about why I pick PlayerUnknown versus Fortnite. I don't really like Fortnite. I haven't played it that much. But I'm just going to get into a couple of the differences and similarities between the two games and talk about why Pubg is my pick for best battle royale game. Number one, of course, gun balance is very important in a game like this. I love the gun balance in Pubg. The sniper rifles feel impactful. You can tell the difference between firing an AUM and an M24 versus firing a Kar98 versus firing an SKS or one of the DMR weapons. You can definitely feel the difference. The bullet velocity is different. The drop off you get when the bullet travels further than 100 meters is noticeable, between guns. I mean, if you fire a VSS at 300 meters or you fire an AUM at 300 meters, I mean, it's like night and day. So I think the guns, not just the sniper rifles, but the assault rifles all have kind of a variety of balance, really. If you're looking for more stopping power, if you're looking for more accuracy, if you're looking for faster shot, a lower time between shots, if you want a good up close weapon, if you want a good out far away weapon, I mean, it's great. I think the shotguns are trash in terms of balance, but all of the other guns feel really good, and the game feels really good. And, when you shoot somebody and when you hit them, I think it feels good, tight, and concise. So also they've added a bunch of maps. So now there's 4 total maps in Pubg, which is great. When you're getting a variety of maps, the game tends to feel less stale, and you can see how some weapons are favored on, map 1 versus map 4. So that's kind of nice. You can pick the map you like and queue up for that. You've also got, smaller size maps. So there's a 4x4, there's 6x6, 8x8. So whichever length of game you prefer, games tend to be shorter on the smaller maps. You can kind of queue up for that specific map, which is cool. Additionally, Pubg is a very realistic kind of game in terms of the combat. You're a squad of soldiers. You're on the ground. You can move around like a real person could move around. There's a lot of extra, like jumping out of windows and stuff. But I mean, for the most part, it's not exaggerated in terms of the movement. Which is kind of cool. I like that because it creates a more tactical experience for a game. So if you're like me and you like strategy games, Pubg is more strategy oriented than, let's say a game like Fortnite, because positioning becomes a huge factor. I mean, it's not just like who has better aim. It's who has better aim, but also who is in the right position. Who has got a good amount of cover, and, is one guy out in the open and then the other guy is behind cover. Even though they maybe have equally good aim, the player who's behind cover is going to have a higher probability of winning the combat encounter. So I think that's pretty cool as well. And in some situations, if you have worse aim or you're worse, like me, you're just not that good at first-person shooter games, you can still, with the right angles and with being prepared and kind of being aware of an enemy's movements, you can predict where they're going to be and then set up on them, and you're going to have a much higher success rate of even outplaying someone who's better than you at the game. So you can kind of compensate for maybe lackluster aiming. You can compensate with superior positioning as well as planning. As soon as you see the circle come up, you're like, okay, here's where I'm going to need to be in order to have the highest probability of being successful against my opponents. And, speaking of accuracy, of course, aiming down the sights is a big one for accuracy in shooters. Well, in Pubg, you can aim down sights to get a much higher level of accuracy at the cost of movement speed, which is a tried and true staple of shooter games, but not really available in Fortnite. So something interesting to me about Fortnite is the aiming. Even if you're having an assault rifle fight with somebody who's 200 meters away, you're doing it in the third person with the kind of over the shoulder camera, it's only specific guns with specific attachments that allow you to actually aim down the sights, and those tend to be the sniper rifles, the one-shot weapons. I don't really prefer that, just because it feels really shitty when you miss in a game like Fortnite. It feels bad. And I have a tendency to want to blame the game itself and not myself, the player. Because if I have my dot centered directly on you, the player, and then I fire my weapon, it may miss. And it may miss not because I was aiming poorly, but because there's always a miss zone when you have a third-person perspective in a game. So you can think of it like this. If, you know, one single dot is exactly where your bullet would land every single time you take a shot aiming down sights on PUBG. If your player is stationary, if you're aiming correctly and you're looking down the sights, that little bitty dot, that's exactly where your bullet's going to land. Now in Fortnite, if you're standing still and you're aiming correctly, but you can't aim down sights, then you've got the crosshair, which is a plus sign and a dot in the middle, but there's a small, like, itty bitty circle on your first shot where the bullet can technically go anywhere in that circle. And so I have a tendency not to prefer that kind of aim for whatever reason. But that's just me. Now, Fortnite, I will say, has a very good variety of weapons. They've got sniper rifles, assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, auto-shotty. And then the legendary weapons, you know, one-shot revolver, that kind of stuff. So that's good. I think the gun balance is decent in the game. I will admit that I've played about 800 hours of PUBG and about probably 5 hours of Fortnite. Not a lot. So if my Fortnite opinion sounds a little biased towards the negative, that's why. But it's, you know, it's a charming game. It's goofy in a way that PUBG cannot be goofy because it's got kind of characters. You know, they got the dancing emotes. You've got the jump pads where you can fly around. You can build a base out of wood. You know, you've got some of these things in the game that you can do that you just can't do in a grounded, realistic tactical shooter, which is probably puts off, you know, grizzled old grumpy men like me, but it allows the game to be a little more accessible for pretty much everyone. Teenagers can play the game, adults can play the game. In addition to that, in terms of accessibility, the game is completely free to play. So, of course, it's got a much larger player base by default, whereas a game with a cost to play is obviously going to have a lower player count. So that's a good advantage for it. I think it works very well at getting people to kind of buy the stuff, you know, boosts and guns and gun skins, and I don't know what else. I don't honestly know what you could buy in Fortnite, but it's a great monetization model for that game. As far as I'm aware, you can't buy character power, so I guess, you know, more power to them. It's, you know, the age-old argument, PUBG versus Fortnite is like Counter-Strike versus Team Fortress 2. You know, one is goofy and fun and silly, and you know, you can still have kind of a skill-based competition, but the other one is more grounded, realistic, tactical, supports kind of teamwork, and you know, more about positioning and getting the right angle and being set up and knowing how and when to set an ambush. And the other one is more about just having a good time and goofing around with your friends. Ultimately, my preference is clearly PUBG. I like strategy games. I've always liked strategy games. I'm a huge fan of StarCraft. You know, I like Heroes of Might and Magic. So, of course, I picked PUBG. But I think both games have merit. If you want to try Fortnite, go try it. It's free. If you like shooter games, if you like tactical, you know, shooters that you could play with your friends, then definitely PUBG would be the Battle Royale game to try out, especially in the new year with all of the changes that they've made and the updates. So, you know, just thought I'd weigh in there. Sorry it's been a while since I made a video. The holidays and the new year and my birthday, just saying, kept me pretty busy. So I'm going to be making some more YouTube videos coming up shortly. And I'm playing a variety of games over on Twitch if you want to check me out there. Upcoming, we've got Median XL, which is a Diablo 2 mod this weekend, and then next weekend is going to be the Resident Evil 2 remake. So if you like any of that stuff, it sounds interesting, check me out on Twitch, and I'll probably upload a couple of YouTube videos of those as well. Thanks so much for stopping by, and have a good day.